Hi, my name is Juliana McMillan-Wolfwhite. I am the principal consultant and owner of Tabulae Spatial Services. And in this video, I am going to be talking about the prompt for the Community Map Challenge of crime. So crime is something that is really important to think about when we think about a thriving city. Crime is something that, at least in the US, is something that could be overdone in terms of prosecutions that are happening that can be happening in a way that are disadvantaging certain communities. But at our core, we want to live in communities that are safe, where people are not at risk and feeling like they are unsafe. So there are a lot of different ways and places where you can find crime data. In the U.S., the FBI publishes a crime data set. There's also places like different security system companies, like ADT has a crime map. So if I just look up the ADT crime map, adt.com/crime, this is at the zip code level, and you can then look up crime data. This is something where I'm not totally sure how you could export this data, but this is something where if I just type in Grays Lake, Illinois, I can then begin to see some of this crime information, and then at the zip code level, and I can get information about the crime. That's really interesting. Oh, there we go. Was saying the name of a county that wasn't the county. So that's one source of data, but the FBI has data. You can find data all sorts of different places, but you can begin to think about crime in different ways. But what I'm actually going to show you right now is just sort of like a map along of how I am getting crime data. So I wanted to look for my place, which is Grays Lake, Illinois, and I wanted to look at the crime data. So I just Googled and I found the police blotter. So I'm pulling up the police blotter here, and so this is a PDF. So where we have the date, the report information, and different things. So these are not necessarily like crimes that were prosecuted, or we're not saying that these were the people who were found guilty, but these are at least where crimes and incidents were reported. So what I'm going to do is just download this, and I'm going to download a few of these, and these all for the same. So it's July 24th. So I'm going to go back a few months. I'm sort of confused by how this data is organized. This is just an example of dealing with data that is geospatial, but I'm going to walk you through the process of how I am making it spatial. So let me just go back. We'll go back to the beginning of June. I know it's probably boring watching me download data, but that's what we're going to do. This is April to June, March to April. I'm just downloading all of them just so that I have the complete data set. And then this one in March. So I'm now just going to close all these tabs. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these different, all of these PDFs. And so I actually pay currently for a subscription to the Adobe Cloud, but there is this website, which if you like, from Adobe, for combining PDFs together. And so I'm just going to select these files that I want to open, and then what's going to happen is it's going to merge them into a single PDF, which is nice so that I don't have to work on processing multiple PDFs at once. So it's merging them all together, and I could also do this just as well in the desktop Adobe. And so I'm just going to call this A13 Prime. And so then I'm going to go ahead and open that in here. So you can see we have all this information. And I am now exporting this to a Microsoft Excel workbook. As with many things in GIS, there's probably a bunch of different ways that you could skin this cat. So then the next thing that I'm going to do here is just I'm going to insert a new column. So I have this location, and one thing that it doesn't have though is this the state. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to call this location, and I'm going to do concatenate, which a concatenate allows me to sort of take one field and then add something onto the other. So what I want to do is just add Illinois onto this so that it then creates a better geocode. So I'm going to do concatenate and then this cell, comma, quotation mark, space, ILLINOIS, and then I'm just going to apparently have some merged cells. So this is going to take me a little bit longer than I had thought it was going to, and I apparently All right, so we are back. I was able to get rid of the few merged cells, and now I have this file. So what I'm just going to do is actually just delete these few other merged cells because I don't need them. And there is a great website that I love that is called Geocoding, and they allow you to geocode for free. There's a limit to it, but it's a pretty high limit in terms of how much you can geocode a day. So I could either upload this or I can just copy and paste it, and we're going to call this Grades Like Crime 2021. And we want to do forward geocoding, and so for this, I put everything into one column, and so that's why we concatenated things together. So that's that location field, and so we can look at this, and we have that. And so one thing that I like is they just geocode a few of them to start with, so that we can see, are they sort of in the right place. I have a few of these that are just in Illinois, and that's because there wasn't actually an address with it. It was just like it was a header. So this looks great, and it'll take less than a minute for it to geocode. You can actually like enrich it with some basic census identifiers, etc. And I'm just going to start that process. And again, this is called geocodio.io. So why we're curious about crime is both understanding like what the different types of crime are that are in a place, but who is being impacted, who are the victims of crime, or are things being like over regulated. So, but a thriving city is a place where people feel safe, both from being from crime, as well as that they don't fear prosecution. So I can preview this on a map, which is pretty cool. I'm going to disable the clustering, and so you can see that one of those is in Missouri, where it should very much be in Illinois, but that I can see here that there's a few cases that are outside of my area, which is perhaps because Actually, it's sort of unclear. But that we can see that, you know, here are where the crimes are throughout my community. So I hope that this is helpful for you and part of your journey. Can't wait to see what you make as part of the Community Math Challenge.